Meine Damen und Herren, als Präsident des Verwaltungsrates des Internationalen Arbeitsamtes habe ich die Ehre, die 78. Tagung der Internationalen Arbeitskonferenz zu eröffnen. Ich möchte diesen feierlichen Anlass dazu benutzen, die Minister, die die Tagung mit ihrer Anwesenheit beehren, sowie alle Mitglieder der in diesem Saal versammelten Delegationen herzlich zu begrüßen.
The Chairman of the Governing Body of the International Labour Office, the Secretary General of the International Labour Conference, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. May I begin by expressing my profound gratitude for being elected to the esteemed office of Presidents of the 78th session of the International Labour Conference. This is indeed a great honor, not only for me, but also for my government and my country, the Republic of Indonesia, which has been actively participating in ILO activities for many years. Indeed, it is my firm belief that our organization should continue its long tradition of being at the forefront of the fight against poverty anywhere and for social justice everywhere. The opportunities to do so are now greater than ever before. Therefore, I would like to call on all of you to share this vision by contributing to the work before us in a constructive manner while respecting the democratic principles on which our organization is firmly based. The creation of productive employment is a crucial element in reaching the goals of our organization. Indeed, 15 years ago, in 1976, the conference acknowledged productive employment as the key element in satisfying the basic needs of the world's population. Today, we cannot but admit the goals set by the World Employment Conference remain valid. However, at the same time, we have to admit that the road to reaching this goal is still long, and that economic development during the last decades has not been favorable for reaching them. Despite progress attained, ever larger numbers of human beings live in poverty and subhuman conditions. Today's challenge for the international community, governments, employers, and workers' organizations, and the many voluntary organizations is as great, if not greater, than ever. In conclusion, allow me to express my conviction that dialogue based on partnership and cooperation between governments, employers, and workers remain as indispensable component in the success of our organization and of our respective national development efforts. Let me, therefore, reaffirm my conviction that our organization should be a global vehicle for such cooperation in meeting the challenges as well as the opportunities of a new world environment, which will hopefully be more conducive to our efforts in achieving our basic objectives. May God Almighty bless us all. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare the 7th sitting open. It's our pleasure this morning to receive as a special guest Mr. Michel Camdesu, Chairman of the Board and Managing Directors of the International Monetary Fund. To introduce Mr. Kamdesu, I give the floor to the Secretary General of the conference, Mr. Michel Hansen.
Je remercie très chaleureusement M. Kamdesu d'avoir bien voulu immédiatement, d'avoir bien voulu accepter notre invitation. Je crois que nous avons aujourd'hui une occasion exceptionnelle de voir où nous en sommes dans notre coopération, de voir les efforts qui demeurent à accomplir pour faire en sorte que les processus d'ajustement structurel conduisent effectivement à une meilleure croissance économique pour l'ensemble de nos États membres et se fassent également dans le respect de la justice sociale et du tripartisme. C'est pour moi, M. Kamdesu, un très grand plaisir et un très grand privilège de vous inviter à prendre la parole. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Secrétaire Général. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est la première fois depuis bien longtemps, peut-être est-ce simplement la première fois qu'un directeur général du Fonds monétaire international a l'honneur de s'adresser à vous. Comme l'Organisation internationale du travail, le Fonds monétaire est au service de cette coopération pour la prospérité globale. Comment le fait-il? Essentiellement de deux façons. D'une façon ordinaire, à travers sa responsabilité générale de surveillance des politiques économiques. Vous savez que chacun de nos membres, je devrais dire pratiquement chacun de vos pays, s'y soumet, et nous essayons à travers un dialogue détaillé avec chacun d'entre eux, un dialogue spécialement renforcé avec les pays dont les économies ont une importance systémique plus importante, de promouvoir des politiques plus efficaces et plus compatibles avec l'objectif d'une croissance mondiale optimale. Ceci, c'est la vie de tous les jours. Mais nous intervenons d'une façon plus décisive, évidemment, lorsqu'un pays en crise de balance des paiements nous appelle à la rescousse pour l'aider à y faire face. Il s'agit alors de faire d'une crise une occasion de redressement durable, en s'efforçant de traiter les problèmes à leurs racines. Vous savez bien qu'au cours des 10 dernières années, la succession des crises dans le monde, la dette, la dérive globale des économies africaines, la crise des économies des pays de l'Est et le passage des économies centralisées à l'économie de marché, la crise du Golfe, ont multiplié les occasions où le Fonds monétaire s'est trouvé ainsi en première ligne. Quel est dans ces situations de crise notre rôle? Très simplement, le dialogue pour aider les pays dans l'analyse de leurs problèmes et dans l'élaboration de stratégies crédibles. L'objectif final est la croissance. Une croissance vraie et donc durable. Une croissance de haute qualité. Ceci implique un combat en profondeur contre l'inflation, le chômage, les déséquilibres de balance des paiements et l'endettement excessif. La tâche est complexe. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, voilà, je le répète, d'immenses défis pour vos gouvernements, pour vos organisations et pour nos institutions. Encore une fois, ils ne pourront être relevés que si nos opinions publiques, et en particulier les travailleurs de tous nos pays, sont convaincus de l'équité, de la légitimité et du caractère inéluctable des sacrifices et des efforts qu'ils impliquent pour la paix, pour la démocratie et le développement dans le monde. C'est là une condition indispensable. Je suis persuadé que grâce à votre action et à celle de l'Organisation internationale du travail, le monde pourra y faire face. Je vous remercie.
La communauté internationale qui a su se mobiliser pour faire respecter le droit international, l'ONU qui a pu jouer un rôle important dans la résolution du conflit que nous venons de vivre dans le Golfe, doivent aussi peser pour régler le problème palestinien. Ou alors, il y aurait 2 poids, 2 mesures, ce qui serait intolérable pour nous et surtout pour les populations concernées.
The conditions in the territories are disastrous. Following the brutal killing of innocent Palestinian workers on the 20th May 1990, the Israeli security forces have continued to commit acts of violence towards Palestinians, acts that have been condemned by the United Nations Security Council and which contravene the provisions of the 1949 Geneva Convention. The Gulf War, which took place in early 1991, has only made the situation worse. For once again, it was the Palestinians who suffered the most, while Israel's intensified acts of violence have put an end to all economic activities in the territories and deprived the entire population of its means of existence. Moreover, Israel's attempts to end the Intifada have merely aggravated the living conditions of the Palestinian peoples, including the workers.
You are telling us terrible conditions? When I'm representing Israel government and I'm in charge in Labor and Social Welfare Office, you cannot imagine what kind of efforts we are doing to try to provide work for those people, to those who are living in Judea, Samaria, and Gaza. Without explanation. There was a delegation from the ILO in Israel. I don't understand. How can you give a report and not to give in this report the matter of fact? When we in Israel are facing now a situation with 260,000 people came additional to Israel, and we are trying to give in that time when we need for 260,000 people from Russia and from the residents of Israel, and we are giving over 120,000 from Judea and Samaria the work, daily work. We took away the work from the people, from the Russian people came in, from people who are steady workers in Israel. And we are preparing, I'm saying in some places, preparing to give work for the people from Judea and Samaria. And now to sit here and to listen to you that there's tragic situation of the people who are living there. How is the situation in Arabic countries? How is the situation in Iraq? How is the situation in Kuwait? And how is the conditions, I would like to say, to the Jordanian president who just spoke before? What's the difference of the situation from the workers in Israel against the situation of the workers who are working in Jordan? It's up to you, and I'm calling again and again. You will not achieve at all by war. You will only achieve, not with terrorists, not with intifada. We are enough strong. You know what our strongest parties? Because we have no alternative. We were only one country. Arabic world has many, many countries. We have only one country, 27 square kilometers, not more than this. And therefore, we are asking you, sit down with us, speak direct with us. By speaking direct, you'll get a lot.
وينطبق عليه القول المأثور: لقد أعطى من لا يملك حقا لمن لا يستحق. أما ما حصل لليهود من اضطهاد على حد تعبير الوزير، وإن صح ذلك فإنه من غرائب الأقدار أن تمارس إسرائيل وشعبها نفس تلك الممارسات على الشعب الفلسطيني أصحاب الدار والأرض الشرعيين والحقيقيين. أما بخصوص الحديث عن الأردن فإنه سيبقى أرضا وشعبا وحضارة. هو الأردن جزء لا يتجزأ من الأرض العربية، والتاريخ العربي الإسلامي الذي توارثت الخلافة الإسلامية الحكم فيه عبر العصور، ويتولى شرف قيادته اليوم جلالة الملك الحسين من آل هاشم سليل الدوحة الهاشمية وورثة الأنبياء دون منازع.
Ladies and gentlemen, according to the arrangement established by the conference for this sitting, it's not my task to draw any lesson or conclusion from the lengthy, substantial, and at times difficult debate which has just taken place. May I be allowed, nevertheless, to express my deep satisfaction at the fact that this sitting has taken place in conditions which are consonant with the dignity required by the topic and subject we have dealt with. I wish to commend the real effort that was made to circumscribe the debate within the field of competence of our organization, that is the situations of the workers of the occupied Arab territories, even if it is not always easy to deassociate it from the general context in which it takes place. An organization wants to be true to its mandate of promoting and defending respect for human and workers' rights. It cannot ignore the difficult situation of these workers and their families. A large number of speakers have referred to the report of the Director General and recognize its usefulness. I sincerely hope that both the report and this debate will have contributed to the promotion of real dialogue and strengthen the determination to find a peaceful solution to the difficult situations of these workers. The Director General, as he's announced, will, I'm sure, draw very important and useful lessons from this sitting in giving his reply to the general discussion of his report at the end of the sessions of the conference. I would like to thank him for this at the outset, and I also thank all of you for your spirit of cooperation, without which we would not have been able to carry out this special sitting. I now declare the special sittings of the conference on the report of the Director General on the situation of workers of the occupied Arab territories closed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you this evening. I am all the more pleased because it is the first time during the conference that I have the opportunity to say a few words to all of you at the same time. But since my wife and I have invited you all for dinner and not for listening to speeches, I will only very briefly say three things. Firstly, I would like to simply but sincerely thank all of you for your role in making this conference a success. My thanks go in particular to my fellow delegates who held a special position during the conference. I'm happy to see them tonight. You have had to work hard. Indeed, some of you very hard. But this is also certainly true for all delegates, and I'd like also to express my appreciation to all of them for their contribution. My thanks go equally to Mr. Michael Hansen and all his staffs. Thank you for a job well done, not just during these 3 weeks, but also in the many weeks before and after the conference itself. I am sure, I am speaking for all of us here, have in particular appreciated your experiments this year. They have made the conference not only more interesting, lively, and relevant, but also shorter. The second thing I would like to say follows directly from what I have just said. The decision to reduce the length of speeches to 10 minutes and the decision to invite Mr. Kamdesu for an informal debate after his address to the conference were, in my opinion, wise decisions. I know that this view is shared by many of you. I will therefore encourage Mr. Hansen and his staff to continue their efforts to make the conference as much as possible a place for true and meaningful dialogue. I'm looking forward to coming back next year to more improvement and above all, more opportunities to discuss with world leaders subjects of common interest. Thirdly, I would like to say, and this brings me back to the reasons why we are here. I wish you all a pleasant evening. I hope that it will give you not only a taste of our food and so on, but also the atmosphere of our country. With the display and the other brief cultural presentation, we'll try to give you a broad picture of Indonesia and its people. Since 1991 happens also to be Visit Indonesia year, we thought this will be a special interest. Ladies and gentlemen, and finally, I will propose a toast for the good health and the success of the good health of Director General and all staff, and the success of the ILO and the progress of Indonesia. For the ILO and the success of Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Se jouer dans le succès de cette conférence, et je remercie notamment les délégués qui ont occupé des postes spéciaux lors de cette conférence.
Je n'ai strictement aucun pouvoir particulier qui m'autoriserait à prendre la parole ce soir. La seule raison qui m'autorise à prendre la parole, c'est parce que c'est moi qui suis le plus proche du micro. Je n'ai aucun pouvoir particulier parce que vous nous avez adressé aux uns et aux autres toute une série de remerciements et je ne suis pas autorisé à vous répondre à la place de ceux que vous avez complimentés. Permettez-moi simplement de vous remercier pour les paroles élogieuses que vous avez eues à l'égard de mes collègues du bureau. Nous essayons chaque année de servir la conférence et je vous remercie. J'espère que le travail qui aura été accompli aura satisfait tous les délégués. Je ne peux pas non plus, Monsieur le Président, vous féliciter. Vous avez encore une journée de travail. et donc par conséquent vous féliciter trop tôt serait à mon avis improductif. J'attendrai donc la fin de nos activités pour remercier, en tout cas, soyez assurés, très chaleureusement. Je voudrais donc tout simplement vous dire combien nous apprécions l'invitation que vous nous avez lancée aujourd'hui. C'est une magnifique illustration de l'hospitalité du peuple indonésien que beaucoup d'entre nous ont déjà appris à connaître, et je suis convaincu qu'après le repas de ce soir, après ce que nous aurons l'occasion de voir sur ce podium, nous aurons certainement envie de répondre à l'invitation que vous nous avez lancée. Je voudrais simplement vous proposer de lever notre verre à la santé du président de notre conférence, à la santé de son épouse et à la santé de toute la délégation indonésienne qui nous a rejoints ce soir.
I now have the honor to invite Mr. Michel Hansen, Secretary General of the Conference and the Director General of the ILO, to reply to the discussions on his reports. Floor is yours, Mr. Michel Hansen.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs les délégués, à l'issue ou à la quasi-issue de cette conférence, je voudrais en tout premier lieu remercier chaque délégué qui a pris la parole au cours de cette discussion pour s'être soumis avec tant de compréhension et de bonne volonté à la nouvelle discipline que la conférence s'est imposée cette année, en limitant la durée des discours à un maximum de 10 minutes. Cette expérience a porté ses fruits. Avec le même nombre d'orateurs que les 2 dernières années, nous avons pu économiser 8 séances plénières. Nous avons évité toutes les séances de nuit, toutes les séances de samedi, et je pense que c'est peut-être une expérience que nous aurions intérêt à reprendre les années suivantes. Puisque vous avez fait cet effort, je vais m'efforcer de suivre votre exemple. Il ne m'est évidemment pas possible de limiter ma réponse à 10 minutes. Je m'efforcerai néanmoins d'être aussi bref que possible en évitant de rappeler tout ce qui s'est passé, tout ce qui a été dit à cette conférence et en concentrant mes remarques sur les principales conclusions qu'il me paraît nécessaire de tirer de vos travaux. Je voudrais tout d'abord me réjouir de l'atmosphère sereine qui, comme l'année dernière, a régné tout au long de vos débats. Il continue certes d'exister des divergences profondes dans les attitudes, les politiques et les points de vue des délégations tripartites à cette conférence. Comment pourrait-il en être autrement d'ailleurs, étant donné l'ampleur et l'acuité des problèmes auxquels le monde du travail et le monde tout court est confronté. Mais il est important de souligner que ces divergences n'ont pas perturbé le travail de cette conférence qui s'est déroulée dans un climat de tolérance, de sérieux, de volonté de dialogue plutôt que de confrontation. À cet égard, je voudrais me référer en premier lieu à la discussion qui a eu lieu à la séance spéciale sur l'annexe à mon rapport consacré à la situation des travailleurs des territoires arabes occupés et qui s'est déroulée dans des conditions dont vous avez dit vous-même, Monsieur le Président, qu'elle correspondait à la dignité requise par le sujet traité. Le climat de violence et de tension qui règne dans les territoires occupés a été, comme il est souligné dans mon rapport, exacerbé par la crise, puis par la guerre du Golfe. Ces événements ont bouleversé l'économie des territoires occupés et de nouvelles mesures de sécurité, parfois drastiques, ont été appliquées par les autorités israéliennes. Comment ne pas se réjouir de la tendance presque universelle vers une plus grande démocratisation et une plus grande jouissance des libertés fondamentales de l'homme? Des ministres et des délégués des 3 groupes et des 4 coins du monde, de pays aussi divers et aussi éloignés les uns des autres que la Hongrie, la Bulgarie, le Paraguay, le Chili, le Suriname, le Mali, le Bénin, le Népal, la Mongolie et beaucoup d'autres, ont témoigné devant cette conférence des changements profonds qui ont eu lieu récemment dans leur pays et qui tendent vers une démocratie plus authentique et des libertés individuelles et collectives mieux garanties et protégées. Tout cela nous offre une occasion unique et inespérée il y a encore quelques années de faire progresser sur le plan universel la réalisation des objectifs les plus fondamentaux de cette organisation.
On behalf of all of you, I would like to thank Mr. Hansen once more for his excellent contribution to the 78th International Labour Conference. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Hansen.
That's a lot of time.
Ja.
Les derniers feux de Cette tradition, c'est pour le secrétaire général de la conférence d'offrir au président l'instrument essentiel de son activité, c'est-à-dire un maillet, le maillet par lequel vous exprimez votre autorité sur la conférence. Le maillet que vous allez recevoir, c'est un maillet extrêmement lisse, très doux, très poli. C'est le signe que vous ne vous en êtes pas beaucoup servi pendant toute la conférence. C'est donc le signe que votre fermeté naturelle et votre doigté ont été suffisants pour assurer le bon fonctionnement de la conférence. Je tenais ici publiquement à vous en remercier.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Secretary General, our conference has now reached its final stage. You giving me this gavel, Mr. Hansen, symbolize the end of this 78th session. 3 weeks ago, it appeared like we had a long road ahead of us. Today, it is almost like the time we have spent together was too short. 3 weeks ago, we are facing up to a common responsibility in accomplishing the work before us. Today, we can rightly say that we have succeeded in completing our tasks. 3 weeks ago, many of us did not know each other at all, or not very well. Today, we realize that we have made many friends and acquaintances during the past 3 weeks. Although I'm sure that all of us share these feelings to at least some extent, they reflect only partially the reason for our meeting and working together during these 3 weeks. As many of you have stated, either in the committee meetings or in the plenary discussions, the ultimate aim of our work was to advance the cause of social justice in our countries. Be it in our discussions on in the formal sector, in our discussions in the conference committees, or during the special sittings on the situations of the workers of the occupied Arab territories, or indeed in the informal discussions in the coffee bar or elsewhere. At the beginning of this 78th sessions, I told you that I would like to see this session taking a decisive step towards realizing the principles of our organizations. I am pleased to note that in various ways we have managed to do this. We have witnessed the positive effect of the change in the international political environments. For instance, we have seen significant change in the participation of delegates from Eastern Europe, and nearly 2 weeks ago, we held constructive debate during the special sittings on the situation of workers of the occupied Arab territories. Although it is certainly not always easy to keep political considerations out of our deliberations, the discussion this year have on the whole centered on the mandate of our organization. It is my hope that this trend will continue in the coming years that will benefit the work of our conference. It is my sincere hope and wish that our discussions, however fruitful they were, will in the end have a positive impact on the work and lives of all workers. As many of you have reminded us, defending their interests and improving their living conditions are the real aims of our organization. Our discussion have made it clear that this is equally true for workers in agriculture, for workers in hotel and restaurants, for workers whose employers have encountered financial difficulties, for workers of the occupied Arab territories, as well as for the masses of workers in the informal sector. Like many of you, I would like to thank the Director General again for having placed these important subjects of the informal sector on our agenda. We have started to realize that releasing the tremendous potential of these workers is one of the prerequisites for economic and social development. This places a great responsibility on governments, workers, and employers' organizations alike. We know that we can count on the office to assist us in meeting this challenge, as well as in promoting bilateral and regional contacts which should allow a full and frank exchange of experiences. It has given me a great pleasure to preside over the sitting which voted the adoption of the program and budget for the next biennium in a more convincing manner than in the recent past. Whether we like it or not, we have to realize that if we want our organization to continue to be relevant to fulfill its mandate, we must give the office the means to assist us. I appeal to all government delegates to make a serious effort in ensuring that the financial means are available to our organization and the office. Let us remember that only a minimal reduction in arms expenditures will be sufficient in meeting this goal. This 70th session discussed once again the report of the Committee on Action Against Apartheid. Despite the many positive developments which have taken place in South Africa during the last 12 months, we were unfortunately obliged to call once again for continued action. Unfortunately, because as became clear during our discussion, we all would like to be in a position to end the work of this conference committee. I sincerely hope that we'll be able to do so next year. But as solemnly requested last year by Mr. Nelson Mandela, we cannot but we go the last mile to its very end. This gable, which you have so kindly given me as a souvenir, Mr. Hansen, is probably seen by a number of you as instrument to stop the discussion and dialogue. Although occasionally this was the case, I would like to think of it instead of a basic working tool which has helped us to apply our methods of work. It has given the Vice President and I great pleasure to see and experience that our basic working methods, which are adopted in the beginning of our organization, are today as relevant and as effective as ever. These methods are dialogue and mutual respect, and they work. They will continue to work as long as we approach our tasks with open mind, the will to listen to each other, and the determination to find commonly acceptable solutions. Solutions which will benefit those on whose behalf we are here. I would like to thank all of you for having worked in this spirit. It has made the task of chairing this session interesting and challenging. I have only been able to accomplish it with the able support of the three Vice Presidents, Mr. Heti, Mr. Santos Neves, Mr. Spenningsens. I am grateful to them for their patience with me, for having shared the task of chairing our meetings, and most of all for their advice and determination to make this conference a success. I am also most grateful for the assistance and support given by the Secretariat General, Mr. Hansen and his staff, to prepare, organize, and hold a conference like ours is not an easy task. You have shown once again, Mr. Hansen, that you and your staff are not only competent in your job, but also committed to our common goal. The Vice President and I have particularly appreciated your effort this year in looking for improvement in the work of the conference. The decision to limit the time of speeches to 10 minutes, taken at the initiative of the Secretariat, was in our view a wise one. Finally, I would like to thank you all again for your part in bringing this conference to a successful end. I wish you all a safe journey back home, and may the Almighty God bless us all. Thank you for your kind attention. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare the 78 sessions of the conference closed. Thank you very much.